We're going to go back to that breaking news out in Aurora. Officials with Aurora Fire Rescue just started speaking. Let's listen in.
And they began fighting the fire from the exterior of the building. It took about 1 hour to bring the fire under control, and now several hours into the incident, firefighters are still on scene working to extinguish hotspots. Thankfully, everybody made it outside of the building okay. 2 residents were treated for minor smoke inhalation. They've been transported to the hospital and they are expected to be okay. And at this point, we have fire investigators on scene who are working to determine the cause of the fire and exactly where it started, but it's too soon for us to know exactly where that happened just yet. For the rest of the morning, the American Red Cross is assisting displaced residents. There are 24 units in this apartment building, and we're estimating approximately 50 residents have been displaced. The Red Cross will assist them with their immediate needs from this point forward, and Aurora Fire Rescue will be here through the morning, working to ensure that all of the hotspots are completely extinguished while the investigators are doing their work. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Evacuating people while they're sleeping and just needing so many people to get on those ladders, I don't think that's very common.
Sure. So this building, all of the apartment doors open up into a hallway. That hallway is enclosed. So when all of the smoke and heat from the fire escape an apartment, they fill up those hallways. The way that people typically leave their apartment is through the front door to their apartment and into a hallway. And when that space becomes untenable from the volume of smoke, nobody can see through it, it's extremely hot and uncomfortable, it forces them back inside of their apartment units. They go to their windows, and that's the only way that they can get out. For the residents who are on the 2nd or 3rd floor of the building, that required firefighters to rescue them with ground ladders. So certainly a very terrifying experience for the residents and a very high life safety hazard that the firefighters knew going into this incident was going to happen.
You said it was like 20 minutes and the attic was already like kind of consumed. What made it spread so quickly?
It's hard to know exactly what made the fire spread so quickly or where the fire started yet. That's why the fire investigators are here. But what we know when you look at the buildings around us is there are eaves of the building that overhang the sides. And so as fire goes up the side of the building, it's able to get into the eaves and travel into the attic space. It's also possible that the drywall ceiling could come down and fire can spread into the attic that way. And at that point, the fire has a large open space full of wooden trusses that it can consume. And it's challenging for firefighters to reach those spots. Unfortunately, at this fire, that fire spread so quickly that firefighters couldn't remain inside the building to put that attic fire out.
And then kind of building off of Kasha's question, how long did it take to evacuate all the residents? I'm not sure if I missed that or not.
Sure. So less than 20 minutes from the time of the 911 call is when all of the residents were able to evacuate. And that was before firefighters began fighting fire from the exterior in that what we call a defensive strategy, meaning firefighters are outside of the building because of the risk of collapse.
It's a little windy out here. It was a bit windier when we first got here. Do you want to talk about the conditions, just how dry it's been? There's also some trees around here, and just the great work by your firefighters that it didn't spread to these trees.
Sure, we do have breezy conditions this morning. Had it been a lot windier, we would worry about wind-driven fire conditions, and that means that the wind would just push fire through the building. You can see trees around the building, other structures, other vehicles. So in a higher wind environment, there would be more concern about the fire spreading to other structures. At this incident, though, when fire did go through the roof, there was a large ember cast, meaning a shower of burning embers rained down on the buildings around us. Thankfully, firefighters prevented any other fires from starting around the immediate area of this building.
And then we kind of touched on it, but are you able to describe at all what the scene looked like? What is fire broke? I think I heard someone mention like a wave of fire. Could you describe what the scene looked like out there?
Sure. The first fire engine pulled up right behind me, and they could see large waves of fire coming from the 2nd and the 3rd floor. That's where they initiated their first fire attack with a hose line to try and darken the volume of fire down and prevent it from consuming the outside of the building. Once that fire was darkened down, there were very heavy smoke conditions. Firefighters pushed inside the building. They had no visibility. They had very high heat as they worked into those apartments to put out fire. And then they started pulling the ceiling down on the 3rd floor to extinguish the attic. While that was happening, firefighters are on the other side of the building making ladder rescues. So a lot is happening at one time. It's happening very fast. And unfortunately, once the fire got into the attic space, it rapidly spread, and firefighters had to withdraw from the building once they knew everyone was out and safe.
Anything else we're forgetting?
I'll just add that this incident is a good reminder to always have working smoke alarms, whether you're in an apartment or in your house. You should have a working smoke alarm on every level of the house or apartment and in every sleeping area. It can truly be the difference between life and death when people are sleeping in a building that's on fire.